I learned this game back in grade school called "Baby, If You Love Me, You'll Smile." I think I might have been in middle school, and this game introduced me to pain that I had never really experienced before, and even to this day, like it stings when I think about it. How you play the game is like, one kid was picked to sit in front of the classroom, and then everybody else would go up one by one to that person and say, "Baby, if you love me, you'll smile." Now you could say this in a crazy way, you could say it in a silly way, dramatic, however you want to say it. You just have to get that person to smile by saying, "Baby, if you love me, you'll smile." And if they smile, you then take their place, and then the game continues. I wanted no parts of this game. Like I had no desire to be seen or doing anything in front of the class. I was a very reserved kid. Didn't talk to many people. Very scary, and I lacked a lot of confidence. And one of the reasons being, I was dark skinned back in grade school, and in the '90s, early 2000s, they let you know that being dark skinned wasn't something that you were supposed to do. At least that was my experience. But you probably heard some of the most creative insults. Insults that stick with you to this day, and it's like, yo, like how did they come up with, some of the things that they came up with? But I pray if that was you, if you had an experience like mine, I pray that you found your tribe and that you're healing because you didn't deserve that. We didn't deserve that. But yeah, I played the game. I got through the game. I didn't do anything special. But that wasn't the day the game, had an impact on my life. It actually happened sometime after that. I was sitting in science class, and there was this girl in there. She was a cheerleader. She used to walk around. She used to have glitter on. She used to walk around with a lot of gel pens. And I thought she was pretty, man. But more than that, I thought she was kind. Like, she would talk to me. She made me kind of feel included. She was nice, man. We used to be in the same group sometimes. And I remember one day, she says my name out the blue. She says, "Matt." And I turned around and I was like, "What's up?" She was like, "Baby, if you love me, you'll smile." Now I'm thinking, like, how does she know how to play the game? Because she wasn't in my class when I learned, but I guess he must have taught everybody the game. And like I'm looking at her and like we locked in, and it's like 30 other kids in here, but nobody else is paying attention. They doing their own thing. Like, so it's just me and her playing the game. And you can see the excitement, the fun, and like she's ready to see me like, "Yo, Matt, let me see what you got." You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, I'm thinking like, "Matt, this is the perfect time to let her know that you like her." You know what I'm saying? Like, let her know what's up. So I'm kind of looking down, and I slowly look up at her, and I just smile. I just give her, as in letting her know, because the name of the game is "Baby, If You Love Me, You'll Smile." So I just smiled at her. It's like I give in. Like I love you. I mean, I'm talking about the longer I held that smile, the more silent the room got. Like it's like 30 other kids in there, and it's like it's not, you can't hear a thing. And then my vision got real blurry. And then I think I felt, you know, I had a feeling. I think it was hurt starting to creep in, or rejection, and the pain that came from that. And by the time that I came back to my senses, like you could see that all of the excitement and the fun that she was having kind of had faded away as she kind of turned back around because she was excited. She wanted to play the game, but I wanted to bring romance. And in that moment, I had, never felt rejection like that. I was afraid of it, so I tried to avoid it. But this time, I think this was around the first time I've ever really felt it in that way. And I was like, yo, I would never do this again. Like I held that smile as she turned around. I was like, yo, no, not ever. So I kind of carried that through like the rest of grade school up and through high school. Women kind of started coming around in college. But I had never really dealt with a lot of that insecurity or that confidence issues. So it kind of grew up with me, you know what I'm saying? And kind of shaped the way I loved, shaped the way I dated, shaped the way I saw myself. But yeah, that little moment, that game, that little "baby, if you love me, you'll smile," it had an impact on me that I didn't know at the time that would be that great. And then, it still sting when I think about that game. You know what I'm saying? But this time, sometimes I still smile when I think about it. I smile a little bit. But this time I ain't smiling at the girl. I'm smiling at the young middle school Matt. And I'm saying to him, I'm like, "Hey there, buddy. You're still standing, bro. And you're loved more than you know." Yeah. Shout out to Mr. Jolly for teaching us that game, though. My first heartbreak, it was summer 2014. She was brown skinned. She had natural hair. It was the first time I saw a woman in person, and I thought like, wow, like she fine. And for me at this particular point, I was kind of a couple years removed from college. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I was a little faster because I was a little fast in college. You know what I'm saying? I talked to a couple girls here and there, but nothing serious. I was, I started being known as a funny guy, man. But I was really rough around the edges, man. I wasn't a mean person, but I feel like I lacked a lot of emotional intelligence. And if you was with me back then, your nervous system definitely wouldn't have felt safe. You know what I'm saying? You would definitely have been on edge a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know what I was doing. But I was growing, man. I had just got introduced to the grace of Jesus Christ, so my confidence started to stabilize because I found my identity in him. So I grew a lot during this time. We had met at a summer camp, and I remember she actually DM'd me, you know what I'm saying? So after that, everything was clicking, you know what I'm saying? We went out on our first date at this spot called the Apache Cafe. And I remember the first time I put my arms around her, man, I was like, dang, bro, she's soft in the mud, bro. And I really liked her, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm going to do everything right. I'm not going to kiss her. I'm not going to touch her inappropriate. I ain't going to do none of that because this was the first girl I really wanted to be with and that I liked. And everything was cool, man. And then shortly after, like sometime after, man, everything just kind of stopped progressing. She started to act a little bit differently. Her moods would change. And I had never seen this before because I ain't never really dated nobody or talked to nobody this consistently. So every time I would see it, I would just think something is wrong and I'll be trying to fix it. I would attack it and I push it. Press the button like, yo, what's going on? Like, let's fix it. She would get emotional sometimes. And sometimes I would just stare at her and just listen to her and be like, but what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I ain't know. You know what I'm saying? And I remember she told me like, Matt, you be complaining too much sometimes. I was like, I ain't complaining. I'm just trying to help. It was complaining now that I think about it. I couldn't figure out like what was going on with her. It's like the more I tried to, earn her favor, earn her attention, like maybe I had it, but I felt like the more I tried, the worse that it got. And this was the first time I ever like questioned like, yo, I'm trying everything, but it doesn't seem like it's working. Like maybe it's something wrong with me. Like, what's wrong with me? Am I not enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, what more could I do? And I had took that thought process so far left to the point where I was like, yo, I know what I could do. Like, maybe she need a guy with some more money. Now, keep in mind, I had a job and I had a car and I was saving some money too. But I was like, maybe she need to do with some money in his pocket. So I had went to the bank and took out like $4,000 in personal loans. And yeah, I was tripping. Yeah, I don't know why I did that, but I thought it would make her happy, and she didn't even know that I did that. And it definitely ended up going to collections. Like sometime after that, after we stopped talking, she was long gone, and I was still paying for that relationship. And it's crazy because after I did that, she asked for space, so now I just got $4,000 in debt, and we ain't even talking right now. And I didn't know what space meant. You know what I'm saying? For me, space meant like if you want to take a break, that means, oh, it's over. And so she took her break, and she actually came back sometime after. I don't remember. I knew how to communicate, but I just didn't know how to communicate effectively. Like, now like I would have that conversation like, hey, let's talk about it. You could take your space. Let's talk about the time you would come back. I didn't do none of that. I just thought it was over. So when she came back, I was like, nah, like this is what you want. And so we stopped talking, and I thought I was gonna be good, man. And maybe about a week later, heartbreak set in, and but I was through. I was through it, man. I remember like I didn't know that your heart and your chest could actually physically like be in pain. Like my chest was burning. You know what I'm saying? I was at work, man, and we had deadlines. And I used to be in my cubicle with my head down. You would have thought I was playing like Heads Up 7-Up. Like I didn't like fire me, bro. Like nothing is like I don't need nothing else, bro. I need my girl back. And I tried to call her. I was sitting in the car one time. I tried to call her, and I was like, "Take me back, man. Let's work it out." And she was like, "Nah, bro." And I got off that phone, bro. I was weeping, bro. I whip aloud, bro. Like I was wimping up in that car, bro. I couldn't control the tears. But after this situation was when I learned about empathy. Like I found out what empathy was because I used to tell people like, get over it, man. Like they would go through their problem, like, bro, get over that. You'll be all right. I will never say that to anybody again, bro. I was hurt, man. I still think I got a couple more payments left on that 4,000 though, for real. I didn't have my first kiss until I got to college. It was super forgettable. But then I had my first kiss. Now that one, I thought I had caught AIDS, herpes, and chlamydia all at the same time. So college for me this was like the first time women started coming around, and I ain't really know how to process none of that. Like, you got this kid coming from high school, insecure, fearful, lacks a lot of confidence, and girls starting to like me. Like, my relationship with the Lord was very serious to me, but my understanding of who He was is very limited. So I lived like a very right or wrong type of lifestyle. Everything was like a heaven or hell issue. So everything to me had to look a certain way for it to be okay. And what's funny about college is that the only reason I went was because they told me that's where you're gonna find your wife. But I was scared to talk to women, so I don't really know how that was gonna work. But I got involved in like campus and whatnot. I started developing a little personality. Confidence got a little, better because women were showing some type of interest. So I may talk to a couple people here and there, but nothing serious. But then I ran into a stallion. Like, she was dark skinned, man. She was thick, bro. I'm not gonna lie. And she was very experienced, and I was scared of her, bro. I was scared. Like, she liked me though, and I liked her too. I just thought I was gonna go to hell for talking to her, because she was very sexual. Like, she wanted to have, but I wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? So I used to run away from her a lot because I was like, yo, I don't really know what to do with all this. And I remember we were walking to class one day, and she was like, Matt, give me a kiss. And I was like, nah, I don't really think we should be doing that. But she was like, bro, stop being crazy. It's just a pet. Just give me a kiss. So I was like, all right, so she kind of grabbed me, and I leaned in, and I gave her a kiss. The kiss I'm talking about was just a peck. So after this little kiss, I ran into the bathroom in a panic, because I was like, man, the Lord is not pleased with none of this. I really felt like Joseph, like fleeing from Potiphar's wife. Like, that's how like guilty I felt. Like, I started to panic. And in the panic, I kind of looked in the mirror, and I saw this little cut on my lip. And I knew right then and there I just had contracted AIDS. Like, I got HIV right now. Like, I'm finna die. So I'm sitting in class, and I'm sitting in class dying, and nobody really knows. So I'm sweating. And then I run to my room. I begin to pray, and I'm like, Lord, if you just deliver me from this disease, like, I promise I'll serve you, bro, for the rest of my life. And I look in the mirror, and I examine the cut that was on my lip, and I was like, oh, this been here. So I started to, like, calm down. But then I went to the nurse's office, and just to get, a second opinion, and I ended up being good, man. I was just being dramatic. I was scared, and this was my first time really experiencing something like this. But after I was like, okay, I'm good. Okay, let's run the kissing back. Let's keep kissing. Since you clean, I'm clean. So she actually ended up teaching me how to kiss for real. But we didn't end up developing no relationship because our beliefs were different. I really think that girl loved me though, and I liked her. I just couldn't believe that she actually liked me for real. But yeah, my confidence had gotten a little bit better at that time, but it was very shallow. It was a very fickle confidence because it was very dependent on, like, oh, women like me now. In high school, it was very dependent on how I saw myself. In college, it was like, okay, well, women are showing interest. It was dependent on outside sources, but I kept skipping over, like, well, how does God see me? But because I didn't really know. What do you call it when you, like, talking to somebody consistently? Y'all, like, going out on dates and whatnot, and it's nothing like official or anything, but y'all are, pretty interested. And then, like, a few weeks later, it's over with. Like, as if, like, nothing ever happened. Like, was we talking? Like, were we dating? Like, what just happened? And then, like, what do you call it? Like, I can remember I had a situation like that where I was talking to a girl, but it was over so fast that even to this day I had to question, like, dang, was that situation like a dream? Like, I know it happened, but it was over so fast, but I actually learned a lot from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this happened after some time after my first breakup. And at this time I had this idea that women could do nothing wrong. Like, they were just perfect. And I had friends tell me about situations they had with women and what they would do and what they would say. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, there's no way that my sisters in Christ are doing the things that y'all are saying not It's not possible. And then I ran into a young lady, and she was cool. She was a dark skin. She was kind. She was selfless, smart. And I remember she used to write these blogs about her life and how she was pursuing the Lord, and she was encouraging other women to do the same. And I was like, yo, this is dope. So I hit the DM and said, let's go get this sushi and let's kick it. You know what I'm saying? So she said, yo, we hit the sushi bar. And it was cool. We had a good time, man. And we hung out some more after that. And I would say maybe a few weeks in is when I started to notice she was like acting a little different. It was pulling away. So I remember towards the end of us talking, I called her, but she didn't answer, which I thought was unusual because just a few days ago, he was answering like regular. So some time go by, but she never called me back. So I doubled down and called her again. I was like, yo, what's up? And I knew as soon as she got on the phone, I was like, oh, this is about to be a conversation where this is about to be over with. And I remember her telling me, and this is the first time I had heard a girl say this to me. She was like, oh, well, man, I just think the Lord saying it's not my season to date. I didn't engage with that because I didn't understand what she was talking about, nor did it make any sense. So I was like, let's just agree to disagree, because I ain't gonna lie, it hurt a little bit, but not that bad because we didn't have a lot of skin in the game. And I would vent about it because I didn't understand it. I remember I checked her Instagram again, and she had dropped a new blog. And I remember going to read it, and I saw that it was about us and our encounter or dating, court, whatever we was doing, it was about us. And I remember reading it, and it was cool. I mean, she said some good things, and she got to the part where she discussed like why we stopped talking. And I don't remember everything that it said, but I remember saying to myself when I was reading, I was like, dang, women be lying. Cause women be lying, cause that's not how that happened. That's not the truth. And that's when this idea of women being perfect or innocent or anything like that, it was my expectation that I shouldn't have had. But seeing that made me think about like, dang, women be lying. I think she ended up talking to somebody a few months after that. Yeah. The pandemic was a doozy. Found myself in a situationship, but I didn't realize it until maybe like 5 or 6 months in. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, at what point do you realize you're in a situation and it's not progressing into an actual relationship? It lasted about a year or so. And it's like, well, Matt, if you found out 5 or 6 months in, why did you stay so long? And that's a good question. And I got two answers. The first one being confidence. I just lacked the confidence to leave. To me, like, this was it. Like, this was the person that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Like, we were cool. We had a lot of things in common, but we stopped progressing. And there was like this major disconnect, and I didn't understand why. And it's like in order to like leave a situation that looks good and it feels good, but it's not, going anywhere. Like, you really have to have confidence that the Lord is better, like that he'll provide, like that he'll take care of you to the point where you don't really got to try to force nothing. But I didn't understand that at the time. I didn't believe it. And I had mentioned in a part 3 of this series that I started to struggle with like not feeling enough. Like, when things are not working, I always used to look at myself and say, what's wrong with me? And when I get like that, I go into work mode and I try to work hard to make something work, and it never does. And even if it did work out, I wouldn't be able to enjoy it because I would have had to compromise who I was in order to get it. And that's just not God's best. I remember I was telling my homeboy about it, and telling him about the situation. And he had told me something that's still sticking with me this day. He was like, well, Matt, you got to stop taking stuff personal. People go through stuff, but it ain't about you. Don't make it about you. And that was like the first time I ever heard something like that. And it kind of set me free in my thinking, not just from the current situation, but it changed the way I thought about past rejections, that I didn't have to take those things personal. And it kind of changed the way I thought about things in the future as well. So shout out to my boy Blair. A lot of y'all think Favarel said that first, but he told me that like 5 years ago. The second reason was sexual stuff. And for my Christians, lust and whatnot. Now, we didn't have sex. Let's just get that clear. We didn't have sex. But when you do involve sexual stuff, it does kind of cloud your judgment. And, masturbation had me in a chokehold. And it's crazy because the hardest part about this situation wasn't like the physical stuff that was going on currently in the relationship. It's actually like how all of this stuff affected me after the situation. Like I didn't know, like I thought like once the situation was over, everything that I was doing, that it would stop. But that's just not how it works. Like after the situation, like I still struggle, but that's when like that shame and that embarrassment and like sense of hopelessness start to kick in. And for me, it's like, yo, I was, this wasn't a thing for me. Like when people used to talk about masturbation and stuff, I was like, yo, like, first of all, that's weird. And I would like never struggle with that. Like I was the virgin, you know what I'm saying? The wait until I'm married type of guy. Like I used to wear that stuff on my chest. Like I used to think like my ability to abstain came from me. That's a poor foundation. And I remember praying to God one day. I said, Lord, like, you got to help me get out of this situation because I don't have the strength to leave. And I remember we had stopped talking for some reason for like a week or so. And then we had a phone call where we talked about things. But I knew that was the Lord giving me grace to leave. So I took that opportunity to just to exit. If I don't know nothing else, I do know this. That when it comes to me and relationships, they don't be working out. But my skincare routine do get a little bit better with each failed attempt. And I know y'all looking at me and saying like, Matt, you shouldn't be saying that there's power in your words and stuff like that. I'm not speaking for my future. I'm saying that's just what's been happening. So I actually, cancel any assignment of the enemy that's, coming against me being married and having kids and keeping me in my single longer than I have to be. I actually bind the strong man and cast him out in the name of Jesus. I just wanted to share with y'all like some of the things and some of the items that I picked up along the way. Before 2020, like just used Vaseline. I had my 5-in-1, my shampoo, my body wash, face wash, your beard wash, and your beard oil all in one bottle. And if you paid a little extra, you did have that option to get lotion included in that same bottle. In 2020, I did run into a young lady. She was Jamaican and Indian, and she actually introduced me to black soap. I remember I used it for the first time, and I left the soap on there for too long, and it actually was burning my skin. And she was like, "You're not supposed to use the black soap on your skin and let it sit on there for that long." Skin was actually burning for like the rest of the day. Around that time, Africo Skin had dropped. And it's been over with ever since. Like I've been with them since like 2020. My face wash is the only face wash that I use. And it's, been keeping my skin in tip top shape. And she also introduced me to like shea butter. And I use Africo Skin for them. And as you can tell, like if you can see that, like it ain't really nothing in here. So I need to re-up. So fellas, start using black soap. I prefer Africo Skin. That lasted for a little bit. I would say I started dating again in like 2023, and I was dating she was white and African. She did, get on to me sometimes about my hands. So I be struggling with like having dirt on my nails and stuff, and I still been trying to figure out, but I, do make sure that I try to keep my hands washed as much as possible, and I do keep like a good hand lotion on me at all times, and I like Aesop. Aesop. This smells really good, man, and I've been using this since about like 2023. Girls don't like dudes with dirty fingernails, and I'm trying to make sure I keep mine clean. It's actually pretty tough. So that lasted about a year and a half, and then last year I was dating a young lady. I forget where she was from. But she was wherever Rihanna was from. I think that's where she was from. And y'all probably thinking, well, Matt, you love the mixed girls that be from like the Caribbean, African. I don't be. To me, when I see them initially, I just be thinking that they black. But then they tell me like, no, I'm not just black. I'm actually this and that. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. But she actually taught me a lot. She took great care of her skin. She actually put me on like wash gloves, exfoliating gloves. Like she helped me in my relationship with rags. And it's crazy because I didn't start using rags until I was like 18. I was like about to graduate from high school, and my stepmom, I remember asking me, she's like, "Well, what do you use to? Have you been using to wash?" And I was like, "You just use your hands." And that's why I probably have issues with like my nails and stuff. Body oil. I actually was on body oils before her, but then I ran into this stuff. I don't even know how to say it. OCA. OCA. OC. Whatever this is, I don't buy it often. I got to do several shows to afford this. But it's good though. This stuff is really good. She actually helped me get into sunscreen as well. And I actually want to show y'all this, man. When you be dating, man, you just be finding all the kind of stuff just be popping up on your feed. I was in Ulta Beauty one time and just trying to find different products to Lactane, whatever this is, and this only full. It's only full because I don't want to run out of it. This stuff smells so good, man. Fellas, go get this, man. But don't wait till you have to be in a failed relationship to do it. I actually keep this in the china cabinet. These are some of my notes when I was in a relationship. Some of the things that I wrote down, but share them with y'all. Dear Journal, why do I feel the need to be heard? When she says things, not even major, little offhand remarks, why does it disturb my peace so much? Why is it that after I've gotten my point across, I feel terrible afterwards? I'm doing all the right things, and it feels like we are no farther along in our relationship than when it first started. We are no farther along in our relationship than when it first started. I'm not really sure if that makes sense, the way I structure that. I have to be better at my reactions. I can't keep responding every time I feel like who I am or what I do is being overlooked. But the more I try, the worse that it gets. I'm tired of being the good guy and not getting the result that I desire. I've been this way all my life. I'm about to cheat. I'm just playing. Like, I did write that, but I put in parentheses, not I'm playing. What the Lord showed me about myself sometime after this relationship ended. Over the years, I had based my security on my performance. What I do, what I did, how I acted, how I treated her. When what I did was threatened or overlooked, my response would be to address it immediately, and I would begin to lecture. And I know how ladies love a good lecture. The Lord's still working on me, though. I couldn't stop reacting this way because I didn't know the root of why I was responding like that. For years, I had believed that I was responsible for my own goodness, essentially like my character. I overtalked because I felt like she had to know how good I was and what I was doing for her in that moment. I used to feel like, how dare she say this or that about me? Like, does she not see what I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? When I would get defensive, I never saw the need for Jesus as my defender to speak on my behalf. This is why I would feel terrible after spending hours trying to get my point across or trying to get her to understand, like, why I feel the way I feel and why she should understand that what I feel as well. I was doing the work of the Holy Spirit. An example that I put down of Jesus being the defender was Mark 14. And then I just put some things to remember that Jesus is responsible for the person that I am. I put a prayer that the Lord help me to keep my composure when I feel offended or the need to defend myself. Help me to love the offender, to cover them, and to overlook, because they got their own stuff going on. So you never really know why they say the things that they say. They may not really be trying to attack me. That's probably just the way I perceive it. Remember that I belong to Christ and my security is in him, and he's promised to defend me, great or small. That's probably the average response, that people give when asked about, dating in 2025. And I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking for everybody. I actually want to share with y'all some of the things that I've, learned from my past dating history, how I'm feeling about dating these days, and just some thoughts. And I'm gonna just go through them. I'm not gonna really do a whole lot of explaining. We could do that, after the video. Number one, abstaining, waiting, and or celibacy. I don't really want to talk about that no more. At least not, with adults. I'd rather, talk to some kids about it, help them. Number two, silence can never be misquoted. quote by Jefferson Fisher. It's okay for me to take my time to answer and then follow up later. I don't always have to try to answer in the moment. Number 3, a lot of us are learning about relationships from culture. Number 4, rejection isn't an attack. I kind of think of it these days like, let's say I'm walking through the mall and then you got those people that are trying to clean your shoes, trying to get your attention, and you're just like, nah, I ain't mad at them. I just don't want what they got. Number 5, I should have tried harder to get married about 10 years ago because I feel like I don't belong in the dating scene in 2025. I just don't think I was born for such a time as this. Number 6, these days I care more about being a blessing rather than talking about what I desire in a mate. Number 7, and this is more of like a observation or a question, that I'm saying, why are single people that desire marriage telling other single people not to idolize marriage? It's harmful, first of all, and number 2, can you stop? Number 8, remaining hopeful after failed relationships are tough. Number 9, most of what I learned about relationships came from the church. And I don't like a lot of the stuff that I learned. Been doing a lot of unlearning and learning new things to this day, I did, eventually find a good message by Joseph Prince. He did like a 4-part series on how to find your life partner. I think that one is really good. Number 10, don't take things personal. Number 11, a lot of Christian women and non-believing women alike think about submission the same way. Number 12, I desire marriage, but I really want some kids these days. But I understand that you got to get married first. Number 13, it's easier to date with money in your pocket. Number 14, there's no real picture for what being ready for marriage looks like. Number 15, when you hear the phrase, I don't want to settle, it usually holds no weight when you really start asking that person more questions. Yeah, so I appreciate y'all.